Hi, my name is Elvina. I am 27 years old and I am French. I got to know PDS when I was working for SVI, Service Volontaire International. It's a Belgian association which sends volunteers abroad, and I was a coordinator for Africa there, so I was looking for volunteers who wanted to join projects in Africa, and PDS was one among their partners. So when my contract with SVI ended, it was very difficult to find a job because of the situation with COVID-19. So I decided to create my own project in relation with sewing, as I love sewing, project in relation with Africa and especially with women. So that's how I thought about the reusable sanitary pads. I've read a lot of articles on the internet about women and their menstruations in Zanzibar, in Africa. And I told about this project of showing reusable sanitary pads to girls and women to Abdallah, the president of PDS, and he thought it was a very good idea. But we also thought that the best idea was to teach women how to sew their own sanitary pads by organizing sewing workshops. So that's what we did. So as I told you, the main goal of this project is to make it sustainable. So that's why we will see how to find the different fabrics that we need to make the reusable sanitary pads. So the waterproof fabric and the bamboo fiber fabric as well. So the idea is to make the women autonomous in the sewing of the sanitary pads. So they can make sanitary pads for themselves. They can teach other women and girls how to make their own sanitary pads to the university and to their colleagues, women and girls from their families. And so yes, that's the idea, to make this project bigger, so many women will be able to sew sanitary pads in order to use them, but also in order to sell them. Yes, it was not every day easy actually. The language was a problem, especially at the beginning, because I didn't know any words of Swahili. Some women spoke English, but not very well, and yeah, sometimes it was difficult to understand each other, and I needed to have somebody with me to translate. So it was not always easy because this person was not always available to translate. So as I had groups of 15 and sometimes nobody knew English, so little by little, even if it was not easy the first days, I learned some Swahili words, and I taught also the girls some words in French and some words in English. So it was a very intercultural exchange, and it was very interesting actually. So the language, which was not a negative aspect but something difficult at the beginning, became very, maybe not very easy, but it was nice at the end, because I learned from them some words in Swahili and words in relation with sewing also. So for example, una shona kote, una shona katikati, una berua. So that's the words I've learned from the girls. So yes, the other problem was the sewing machine, because they are very old, and the sewing machine that they have in Zanzibar and in Africa are not the same as the one that I use. I use an electrical machine, and they use a very old machine that doesn't need the electricity. So yes, it was not very easy, because I don't know much. I don't have a lot of knowledge about those sewing machines. So yes, and sometimes they were not working properly, so we had some difficulties to make them working, and we needed Yuma. Yuma was one of the PDS members to come every morning to fix the machine when they were not working. So it was not always easy. And the last thing, which was not easy, was that all women didn't know about sewing. Some of them knew about sewing, and few of them didn't know, and it was very difficult for me to teach them because they didn't have the basic knowledge of sewing. So if you want to develop a project in Africa, or a project in general, I think it's very nice to think about the project. Is the project interesting? Is the project pertinent? I think you have to read a lot of articles, a lot of things on internet, to read books, to speak with the person who have already worked on a project, so you can have their feedback as well. It's very important to evaluate the needs of the people you're working for or you're working with on the project. So and yes, and when you're sure about the project and you think that the project is nice, the project is answer to the needs of the people you want to help, I think you just have to go on, and when you're on the spot, when you're in the country, you may encounter some problems. Of course, the rhythm is one among them, because of course it's everything. I'd say in Africa everything is very slow, like it's a rhythm totally different from the rhythm we have in France or in Europe, for example, and you have to adapt. So adapting is the word. If you want to make something in Africa, if you want to develop a project in Africa, you have to be patient. So but it's a very, very good experience, and I'm very happy that I lived this experience at PDS.